Hello and welcome. Thanks for this special broadcast. With us is Sadhguru, and I'm not going to introduce you, but do you promise to make this a honest and feisty interview, sir? Because…
Feisty, yes, and honest for sure, but you have to make it penetrating.
Sadhguru, is this a bad time for anyone to be associated with religion, mysticism, yoga in any form? Is there a pushback, a blowback against men of God of all shades?
I don't think so. I don't experience that. And I think that is only in a few newsrooms. That's not there in the street, that's not there with the people. But definitely, it's a little black mark on everybody's face, some people's behavior and their whatever. But I don't think it is so, it's not true in any sense in our activity, because our activity is built with a certain openness and a certain involvement of the people. Everything is done democratically, everything is wide open, and there are no secret caves in our centers, everything is wide open and open to everybody. So, it doesn't in any way touch us.
But then doesn't everyone get lumped together? Because I'll be honest…
Unfortunately, yes. In the media only, not in the world.
No? Even among people there is a sense that religion has been turned into a business.
I don't know whether religion has turned into a business or not, I don't want to comment about that. The spiritual process is run in a certain way, and it is run by the people. There is no some other organization beyond the people, it's the people. Like for us, Isha Foundation is a totally volunteer organization. Everybody is there by choice. If you do one thing that they don't like, they will leave tomorrow morning, because there is no any kind of trap that with which they're held, there's no rope to hold them as such. So it's always on a volunteer basis, that's why our workspaces and our lives are beautiful, because everybody is there because they want to be there. It's very different.
But Sadhguru, tell me this, when we looked at Gurmeet Singh, I'm not going to use Baba Ram Rahim…
No, all those people who are thinking everything has to be secular, I think he's a perfect example of your secularity.
Why do you say that?
No, because our idea of secularism is, if you say one word, you have to say three words. So, Amar Akbar Antony is your idea of secularism, then well, you got it.
Because he had Ram and Rahim in his name.
Yeah.
So with Gurmeet Singh, there were all sorts of atrocities that he was perpetrating on his followers. There are stories about how… and now we know he's convicted of 2 rapes. There were men who were apparently castrated, and yet everyone stayed on. Why do some people, just in the name of religion, have this hold over hundreds of people who are being exploited in all manner, and yet they are there?
Even I'm not able to figure that, because I've raised people around me in such a way that even if I say one senseless thing, my people will stand up and say, Sadhguru, this doesn't make sense. That's how I've brought up people around me. I cannot understand how you raise such a flock that at any cost they are with you no matter what the hell you're doing, which amazes me. If not, whatever… See, these cases and whatever, these are by law. What has to happen to anybody, not just whether he's a leader, he's a follower, he's this or he's that, it doesn't matter. What has to happen by law has to happen. What his people were trying to do, assembling around the court and creating that violence is, they were trying to force the hand of justice. They thought that they can do that. But similarly, similar things I think are also being done by news media, that you're trying to force the hand of justice by creating a certain hype. This should not happen. Justice should happen as per the law, not according to my likes and dislikes or your likes and dislikes. Just by the law, what has to happen must happen. This is a fundamental change I would like to see in this country, that this country doesn't run by my whim or your whim, this country becomes a law-abiding nation.
Do you think, Sadhguru, they also get a large part of their power, in fact a major chunk of the power that some men and women exert as women of God or men of God, is because of their political patronage?
I think it's the other way around. Because they have the power, see, you must understand it's a democratic process. Democratic process is a number game. Wherever there are numbers, a political leader will go and he has to solicit. That's part of his political, I would say, his political duty in a certain way. He has to solicit people's votes and support.
Even if it's a tainted man?
Tainted now, all right. Before that, how do you know he's tainted?
This case is 15 years old.
See, one thing you must understand, cases can be filed on anybody in this country without any basis. Any basis. I'm telling you, especially if you are in public life, the kind of ridiculous things that people file cases on is unbelievable. They say if I play music in the ashram, in a tiger reserve which is 200 kilometers away, 170 kilometers away, tigers are not able to sleep peacefully because I'm playing music in ashram, okay? And people are saying, I have killed 100 elephants, Veerappan killed 500 but he had guns, I killed them with my bare hands, 100 elephants. I have destroyed an entire rainforest. Like this it goes on, these are all things that you can file a case. It just gets accepted, nothing happens, but media picked up and maybe 10% of the people will believe these things.
But doesn't this go against the idea that the state and religion should always be separate? The two should not mix.
See, state and religion being separate is very much so. As a part of our constitution, it is so, there's no question about it. This doesn't mean a political… somebody just because he's in politics, he should not go to the temple, mosque or church. There is no such thing, there's no such law. He can be a devout Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or whatever else that he follows, okay? Only thing is, if somebody is going somewhere where somebody has a large, cachet of votes, naturally politicians will go there. But if they go there and now seek it in the prison after a convicted man, then of course you must go for them. But when somebody is not convicted, just accused, you can accuse anybody of anything. I am not trying to defend anybody. All I am saying is, if each one of us start taking our own judgments, leaving the law aside, we will become a nation of lynch mobs. This is different ways of lynching, you know. We should not do that. You can always point out, you can always expose something that's wrong, but you shouldn't go into a lynch mode, because once you go, then the law will not operate properly.
Haven't we already become a nation of lynch mobs?
Not yet. Here and there lynchings have happened. That is also, I would say, because there is no proper enforcement of law there is no enforcement in a big way. So people take things into their own hands and act because the law enforcement is not equipped to handle 1.3 billion people. So those things we don't have to take as standard. Ugly things have happened, not just today, it's always been happening. Today because of too many cameras it may be captured, otherwise it's always been happening. These beatings and lynchings are unfortunately very much a part of rural society in this country. I've lived in this thing. Somebody thinks somebody is… somewhere it just happens, like I've seen this, very ugly situations. They think someone is kidnapping children because he's taking these children to sacrifice them somewhere. I don't know where this idea comes from. They just catch one strange guy and beat them to death right there. You can't do it. Sometimes I've tried to put my hand into it and save those guys, but it just doesn't work because the entire village gets into the act.
But you don't think this is in any way related to religion or a certain tacit support of late to an ideology?
See, people get lynched for a variety of things.